Go ahead and start. All right, Coach, can you easily explain the difference between assistant head coach and associate head coach and how that changes with your role?
Yeah, so the associate head coach, well, the assistant head coach initially was just being able to take over for some things that within the internal organization here, football, the program. If Brian Kelly was gone, I met with the staff, met with the coordinators, did different things. Now there's some more external things going on with the associate. You know, just today there's head coaches meetings on campus. You know, when Coach Kelly can't go to that, I go over. So there's external things that the associate head coach will do. Speaking engagements, another thing. Working directly with the athletic director with possibly, you know, scheduling the future opponents, things like that, you know, obviously Coach Kelly's involved in that stuff as well. But then also still doing the internal work that comes with that. So it's been really good. You know, I get a chance to get over on campus and spend more time with the athletic directors and assistant athletic directors and get input and give input in different areas that I wasn't doing a year ago. So that's a major piece, you know, and still doing the internal work that I've been doing with meeting with the coordinators and setting the schedule and different things like that.
Mike, can you talk about Jason and Justin Ola, the twins, and what you've seen from them in terms of their growth since they've been committed for quite some time now? Yeah,
you know, I went to the state championship game. I went to 2 games. I watched them play. Don Bosco early in the season, not early in the season, but later in the season, but before the playoffs, and came away very, very impressed with you know, both of their development in terms of fundamentals and how they played, how aggressive they played. You know, I do believe that Jason is going to be able to come in and give us some great depth and added depth in, you know, several areas. And then, you know, I know Justin's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. You know, the world's kind of made him second fiddle to his brother, which is I'm all good with. You know, I hope he does have a chip, and I think he'll be the surprise of the class. I think he's going to come in and you know, the plan is to get them both ready to play if we need them and see what happens. You know, hopefully we hold up and the depth stays the depth and we don't get a bunch of injuries but no, we're planning on getting both those guys ready to play early and if we have to.
What defensive end position do you see Justin working out at?
Well, he'll start off at the drop, you know, but based on how he develops throughout the month of June and July, you know, putting on some weight, I'll teach him both. Both of our, even like Julian Okora double learned last year. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that it's more challenging for a freshman to learn both of them. But I think that Justin, you know, he's got a great understanding of football and he learns well. I think he should be able to do them both.
And what made Jamion Franklin a guy that you wanted to target and get in a part of this class?
I wanted to add toughness. You know, we've been able to change the culture of the defensive line into an aggressive, and we're not there yet, obviously, but we're changing that culture and identifying Jamion very early as a guy that's going to add to that and improve that with an aggressiveness and a toughness. He was a marquee get for us because of that, and you know, just day to day. Just going to be an aggressive, tough individual. Obviously, he's been dealing with the mental part of it with his family. He's shown that mental toughness, and he's obviously got the physical toughness. Had a chance to watch him play, and just so disruptive and physical and aggressive. That's what we wanted to add to this defensive tackle group.
And lastly, for me, how different has it been to be able to focus more on 2019 guys here in the month of January with the early signing?
Oh, it's been great. I love the early signing period. So if you're going to ask that question, you can get the answer right there. I love it. It's been awesome. You know, I was home for, you know, so the other part of the associate head coach, you know, I was in on all the interviews, ran point on most of them, and which was great, you know, because I didn't have to go out and babysit Jason and Justin and Jamion. They were already signed. So the week after the bowl game, I was able to, you know, help coach and put together some names and get guys in on interviews for the roles that we had to fill on the staff, and so, you know, that makes it much nicer. And then, you know, the needs, you know, the end of the season happens. As you know, I spent most of December, well, really November, December, and a lot of January recruiting Jonathan Bonner and Jerry Tillery back. So that was a huge part of not having to go on the road and again, babysit guys that signed in December. So I love the early signing period. I think it's a huge benefit. Saves a ton of money from us driving, traveling around, seeing guys that we've already seen 4 times before in November and December, and allows us to, I've been at Notre Dame now going on 9 years. I haven't had a stronger group of underclassmen that I'm recruiting than I have this year in 2019. This could be the best defensive line haul we've ever had here, and a lot of it is because I've been able to put the 18 to bed and get moving on the 19s and go visit in their schools all throughout January.
Thanks, Mac.
Yep.
Coach, speaking of Jerry and Jonathan, what was your role in that? And what was your advice, and how did all of that unfold, particularly with Bonner coming back after initially changing his mind?
Well, the role I played was, just a confidant. I mean, at the end of the day, I built a great relationship with those guys. We've been able to take their game to a new level, and they felt it, they sensed it. And Jonathan Bonner wasn't done playing football in his heart. He felt like he was. I mean, listen, you're in the middle of the season, you got a broken hand, it's wrapped up every day, you're out there, you're beating your head against, Quentin Elston in practice. And yeah, I mean, okay, so it doesn't sound all that good to come back for another year and do the same thing, unless there's something at the end of the road. What are we building this thing up for? And he does have a future in football. There's more football in him. There's the NFL aspiration that I'm not quite sure that he fully felt was something that he wanted to attack. But at the end of it, when the physical started to feel better at the end of the season, talking to him down at the bowl game and then post-bowl game, spending some good time with him, he knew he wasn't done with football. He wanted to come back and make a run at it and be with his team. He's going to miss the guys that we built this incredible relationship with at D-line. So it was just being there for him. It wasn't twisting his arm and, telling him, what I think he should do. It was just talking to him and helping him through the process. And he came to the conclusion by himself. And his family was on board with it. His mom's battling an illness. And so he wanted to do the right thing and get a job and help her out. And she said, no, Jonathan, you go do you, and I'm going to be fine. I'm not that far away. And so he had great support from the family, and his support system helped him through this. So that was Jonathan. And then Jerry, Jerry and I have an incredible relationship. And he knew that what I was telling him and what Coach Kelly was telling him is that, if you were a first-round draft pick and everybody felt that way, then, heck, we'll pack your bags for you. You should be going, go do this. But he's not. And in these areas, he needs to work on. And we went through those, and he understood. And I showed him video of certain things that I want him to improve on, that the NFL wants him to improve on, so that his draft status goes up. And, and I have a great relationship with his parents. So they wanted what was best for him, and they knew that coming back was what was best for him. So at the end of the day, between both of them, it was about relationship building and trust, and they believed in me and Coach Kelly and what we were telling them, and not really selling them as much as just giving them the information. Coach Kelly did an incredible job of researching with GMs and scouts, where is Jerry, where do you have him, and gave him, rather than just what the NFL sends back of numbers and different things, it was truly concrete. Here's where we have him, Coach. It's not just to stay in school, it's an emphatic, you need to stay in school and your draft status will go up if you get better in these things. So what he heard was similar to what he heard from us. So it made it, I wouldn't say an easy choice for him, but, he feels really good about it.
Mike, you said Justin Ola has a chip on his shoulder. Is that something that he discussed with you, or
No.
is that something that you feed to motivate him? Or
No, I think it's derived directly from the media that do stories about his brother. And, his brother got invited to the Army All-American game, and he didn't. His brother gets all these accolades, and he doesn't. And his brother is scheduled to play football at Notre Dame and be in the depth, and he's not. He's going to be redshirted, and people are writing articles about that, and he's forwarding them to me. And, Coach, can you believe what they're saying about me? And, he's sharing those things. But he's not telling me he's got a chip on his shoulder. I can just tell you. Yeah. And that he's going to come in here with a chip on his shoulder to prove that he's worthy of a scholarship offer and a commitment to Notre Dame, right. And as his brother is.
What areas did you see his game improve this year, his senior year?
You know, listen, playing defensive line is all about fundamentals. It's all about technique. It's about hands. It's about blow delivery. It's about disengaging blockers. It's pass rush, your speed series pass rush, your power series pass rush, and he improved in all those areas, along with, you know, just his FBI. He's got an incredible football intelligence that just allows him to go out there and be productive. So, you know, I'm excited about the fact that, you know, he's a part of this class and he's going to add great depth for us.
And you mentioned, Jason, 2 positions. I assume you mean 3 technique and strong side defensive end?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that he can give us added depth in a lot of areas, but yeah, those 2 for sure.
Maybe nose also? Not so much.
No, I'd rather, no, that's Jamion.
Right.
Jamion and Kurt and, you know, Flip Bonner more now at nose and Jerry a little bit more at 3 and do things like that. But no, and I'm not sure Jason will play any at end, but, you know, we got 7 defensive linemen, 7 defensive ends right now, you know, that, and we double train a couple of those guys from the drop position over to the end. Like Julian Accord double trained a year ago. Jay Hayes was double training inside at D tackle. So, you know, there's a lot of flexibility there. We would do the same thing with Jason and Justin both, you know. No sense in them just learning one position if we can teach them 2 and add value to what they can help us with if down the road you have an injury or 2.
Where do you think Tillery's game improved the most from 2016 to 2017?
Practice habits, you know, coming out every day with the right mindset. I think that it still has an area of improvement that we need to take another step forward, but, you know, he's more aggressive. He played harder. You know, he was in my office every day, you know, wanting to watch film. What can he work on? So, you know, becoming more of a pro at the game of football rather than just you know, come and do your job and then leave and go, you know, be a student and travel the world and do all that other stuff that he does and loves to do.
I mean, to his credit, he's a well-rounded human being, and everybody wants that. But how tough of a sell was that? And did you think that he would make that transition from a mindset standpoint?
I didn't know whether he would or not, but I know that he did, and there's another step that he can take, and he knows that, you know, more of a commitment and you know, and a lot with technique, you know, when we go into individual drills, really grinding through the tough times of working on your technique that, you know, just his base. At times he gets narrow in his base and he loses his power, and he's not an overly powerful guy anyway. He's an explosive player, an incredible athlete, but, you know, when you don't have that power like a Quentin Nelson has, you better have the right technique or you're going to get overpowered. Right. And so, you know, we're working through those types of technique things that he needs to continue to commit himself to.
I mean, I think he's a nose more for need than anything, right? I mean, where do you see him playing at the next level?
Tillery?
Yes.
I'd see him being a D tackle, a 3 technique, and that's what we're going to play him at.
Okay. Thank you.
Mike, right here. You touched on Jamion's toughness, and, you know, with the things that he's going through personally, I mean, what is his maturity like, and is that different from other guys that you recruited at this stage of their lives? Yeah,
you can tell that he's a very mature guy and very mentally tough kid to deal with what he's dealing with his family. As you know, in the recruiting process, a lot of guys would have just said, okay, I'm just going to do what's convenient and easy, and I'm going to stay close to home and take the easy way out and not really challenge myself in the areas that I planned to challenge myself because of what's happening with my family. But obviously his maturity level and his mental toughness has allowed him, and his support, his family is very supportive of this, to go off to Notre Dame and make that decision, which is challenging. I mean, it's not easy. So, you know, he's a very mature guy.
Coach, with Jerry playing mainly the 3, I mean, is that a confidence level with Kurt Heinisch perhaps being more ready, or are other people also options there at the nose?
Well, Jonathan Bonner. Jonathan Bonner will go to nose.
So you're flipping the 2 there?
Yeah.
Okay. And just the progress, I guess it was one of the top surprises with both Heinisch and Myron, just being able to play the amount of snaps that they did. What enabled them, whether it was physical or mental maturity, to take that progression, and do you see even more coming up with them in their roles? Yeah,
they better take a step forward. You know, I think that we knew early on, they came in right away. You know, in June, you're running gassers, you're running conditioning drills, and you're doing some OTAs and some technique work, but not much football. And, you know, Kurt Heinisch is running out there with everybody, and he's winning races, and he's competing, and so is Myron, you know. And then you got a young man like Darnell who didn't see the field, who redshirted, or excuse me, didn't redshirt, but just didn't play. And, you know, he wasn't in shape. You know, he could barely get through our FSA. So, you know, they came in great shape. And that allowed us to pour more on them and evaluate them at a higher level. And then fundamentally, you know, Kurt came from a defensive scheme that he was taught really well, and so did Myron. And not that they use their hands great, because they both have a long way to go, but you know, they were able to hold up more consistently than a lot of freshmen we've had at D tackle. Myron very similar, like let's say a Sheldon Day, you know, as a freshman, and just a little bit bigger, I think, as a freshman. But you know, and their ability to learn the defense. We have a challenging defense up front, you know, and so their ability to learn was high, and their work volume was high, and that allowed us to play them.
It seems every year there's discussion about having a rotation, but seldom have I seen where you have not only pretty much your entire starting group back, but also pretty much the two deep, other than Andrew, but Khalid was playing a lot too. Do you see where a rotation is going to balance out? Maybe.
Oh yeah, we'll do what we did a year ago. Yeah, everybody will play, and I'm trying to get a role for Ade. You know, Ogundeji. He's done a great job, and you know, he's playing winning football, and we got to find a way to get him on the field at times, and so, you know, there's some really good, you know, depth issues that we have that you know, we're going to continue to play as many guys as we can to keep everybody fresh and to dominate. We want to be dominant this year. You know, we want to, each opponent we play, we want to put guys on the field that can dominate and rotate guys in that can stay fresh and do that, you know, and that's what I'm hoping we can put on the field.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll have Coach Denson at podium next.
Thank you.